I've really dreaded making this video the entire day. So it is currently 10:55. I currently have done absolutely nothing today. I just finished editing yesterday's video and I'm now exporting it. So I'm going to be doing this while I'm going to be exporting the video while I'm recording this so I can double task. Today, I fell short. It started off really poor. I decided last night that I was going to let myself sleep in and just wake up whenever my body wakes me up. But this especially confirmed it, even though I had realized this before, that not having a specific time to wake up makes it really hard because I'm not sure when my body is actually ready to get up versus when I can go back to sleep, because I thought I could go back to sleep when I first woke up this morning because it was still early, but my body would not let me and I just was in bed and did nothing. And then I finally got up, I brushed my teeth, did my short little routine, and then I didn't do anything all day. I was just on YouTube. I had to charge my computer like I used it until it died, and then I had to charge it back up, and then I used it, I think I charged it to only 50%, and then it got to 1% again, and then I charged it again, and then I am currently using it right now. I'm not entirely surprised I felt like this, considering that I was just in a high stress week, and it is hard for me to articulate everything I want to say to the camera right now, especially since I just watched my video. And yesterday, I know I was tired, but I said every other word. It was really bad. So now I'm consciously trying to think about what I'm trying to say. But after these high stress, no break stretches of time, especially when they are for school, I tend to have a day after where I'm just completely burned out. And I think this is consistent when I am doing work that I don't necessarily deem as meaningful or that I like. I like doing work on the calendar. I like doing work with soccer. I like doing work with editing. Those things I can do every day and not get burned out. Schoolwork is a completely different story, especially over a extended period of time. Not saying that a week is a long time, or even it was mainly 3.5 days where it was straight work. When I woke up, all I was either doing was going to class or doing work for class. That I needed a break after. And it makes me question myself, because I say I want to do all these things. I say I want to be a really great person, but I fail and fall and don't have the drive that other people might have where they don't take a day off. And I want to be like that, but I'm not sure if I'm just naturally not like that or what. But I wish I was. I wish I had a reason that some other people do. Some other people have a family member or a close person that died and they do it for them, or who's struggling through a hard time and they do it for them, or they themselves went through a really hard time when they were younger and they have trauma, so then they do it for themselves. Sorry, I'm gonna, in the background while doing this, upload the YouTube studio. And I've kind of grown up in a more comfortable life, which I will admit, but for where I want to go, a lot of what I've seen from people is that people who do reach the top, they do have to go through something kind of negative for most people. There are, of course, exceptions, but just what I've seen, a lot of people who make it to be really big went through either bullying or they were a loser or their parents didn't have a lot, and it gives you this fire inside of you. And I feel that I've had a pretty comfortable life, and I will say I have felt like a loser in some aspect for the past, since going to high school, maybe a few years into high school, but I was never that much of a lose. I was never like I've always had friends. I've always been sociable. It's never been like everyone's hating me to where I was like a real loser. The fact that I was a loser, I think is mainly like my own ideas, especially now, because I couldn't ever find a girlfriend, but I was never what other people would deem like their childhood as a loser. I was never being bullied. I've never gotten into a fight, so I've never been beat up. But I don't have that undying fire in me that feels that I always need to make progress, because I can take days like this where I'll just sit on YouTube all day and watch literally nothing, just wasting my time. And it I know I shouldn't be doing it, but I still do it. And I don't know why. I need to learn more about myself, more about other people who do have that fire, how to create that fire. The only person that I think has ever really talked about that is David Goggins. I remember on a podcast he talked about him performing without purpose. And I will say it's a lot easier to perform when you have something or someone to perform for, but maybe performing without purpose is something that I have to research for myself so that I can every day get the best out of me and be happy with the progress I've made. Because after I have a day or a period like this where I waste the time I have, it it weighs on me mentally, and I don't want to feel like this. Maybe this is my last ever really stressful week, I think, of school that I will have for the rest of my life. So maybe I will never go through this experience again. And I may be able to just, in the next few months, create a business so that I can support myself, so then I could really pursue soccer and then pursue soccer to hopefully the top. But I need to find a way to perform without purpose. I think that's the insight I have just talking about this, just working this out. And I suggest for anyone, if they're by for some reason watching this right now, if you don't reflect, just to either set up a video camera, set up a voice memo, or write it down in a journal, for example, iJournal. It helps you when purposely reflecting. I feel like I'm not even trying to right now, you just, I don't know how to say it, but you get these insights that you wouldn't get just going through your day and really reflecting and really trying to understand what went wrong and how to do better next time, and is the feedback that no one else will give you unless you have someone like that. But I would assume for most people, they don't have that feedback from someone else, and I certainly don't. I am alone right now in my house the entire day. Even if my roommates were here, I don't feel like I have that other person in my life really pushing me to be better. No one that I've met who's been really close around me has even come close to that drive that I have. Even though I do fail sometimes, no one even comes close. But I want to build myself into someone who doesn't fail. I don't want to get in my own way. Not not someone who doesn't fail when trying something new or trying to build something, but someone who gets in their own way. I don't want to be like that anymore, and I want to change that about myself. So I have to reflect on what made me fail, and then what were the triggers to make me fail, and then when I am in that period, how do I recover really quickly? And maybe just going through the stress of doing the work that I really don't like, which is schoolwork, is that trigger for me, and I should try to not, I don't like try to not do that anymore. And luckily, I don't have any more of those stressful weeks. I do understand a little bit more now why people who work 9 to 5s who absolutely hate them, why they need this weekend and time off when they come home, because I would absolutely hate my life if this was it. I couldn't imagine doing this for the rest of my life and saying I had a good life, even if I had someone who loved me when I came home. That 8 hours a day of hating what I'm doing on top of mental pressure just doesn't really sound fun to me. Doesn't sound like a life that I would like to live. But getting back to my main point, trying to figure out who I am, trying to figure out how do I not get how do I not get to the end of a day and feel like I do right now. Saying that, I do have a game tomorrow. I'm going to perform. I've worked out my schedule to where I don't get the amount of sleep I should be, but I'm going to get probably around 7 hours, if that, probably around 6 hours and 45 minutes. But I'm going to do my juggling. I'm going to cook breakfast. I'm going to cook breakfast as soon as I wake up. I'm going to do my juggling, and then I'm going to head to the game. Early start, 10 a.m. So we have to be there at 9, and it's about a 44-minute metro. So I'm going to leave an hour before just to give me a little bit of a time buffer. I have my report due at midnight tomorrow, and I have to study for my exam. So I can't take that time once I get home to just relax. I think I'm going to ChatGPT deep research and figure out how to not let me fall, and then maybe if I can incorporate that into either a blog for my website, for my app, well, it would be a website, a blog for my company, or a feature that I can input into the app. That's going to be one of the main priorities. But just a little chat, just so I could record myself today, be open with where I am, and then maybe you go through the same thing, and one day I'll have a solution to this exact video. But for now, a lot to learn.